The mission statement framework is a place for you to write down your long-term goals and figure out a clear plan of action of how to get there. The first step is defining your goal, and a good way to do this is to use the SMART philosophy. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. An example of a SMART goal is launch an online store selling candles by the 30th of June, 2023. The next step is to list all the reasons why you want to pursue this mission. This is completely personal, so you don't have to share it with anyone. It's just for you to flick back on when you can feel that flicker of resistance and you kind of want to quit. This is going to be your source of motivation, your fuel to keep going. Think about why this goal is worth your time and energy. Think about the short-term benefits and the long-term benefits. If we look at the example of starting an online store selling candles, you might want to do this because you love making candles and it brings you joy. It's been a dream of yours for a while now. You want to work for yourself eventually. There's a gap in the market for the type of candles you produce. You're currently working a few days a week, so you do have the time. And you've always wanted to start a business before having kids. The next step is to debunk your fears. We all have them. We know that fears can often get in the way of our goals and prevent us from moving forward and making progress. That's why we've added a few journaling prompts to help you work through your fears. Number 1. What are some worst-case scenarios that could result from pursuing this mission, and how likely are they to occur? If you're starting a business, the worst-case scenario might be losing your financial investment and not selling any candles at all. The reason why it's good to get these fears on paper is because you can work through them logically. When they are swimming around in your head, it can really consume you and overwhelm you. If we consider the likelihood of this worst-case scenario, I would say it feels pretty unlikely that you would lose every cent you've invested and that you don't sell any candles at all, because when you launch a business, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, your family and friends will generally want to support you. Number 2, what practical steps can you take to prevent these outcomes? When you enter a problem-solving mindset, it becomes clear that there are many things you can do to prevent or repair the potential damage. It allows you to see other viable pathways to your goal. If we take the worst-case scenario of losing your investment and not selling any candles as an example, some of the steps you can take to prevent this from happening are things like budgeting and staying mindful of your expenses, researching cost-effective marketing strategies, asking for help, joining business groups to seek advice. Number 3, if the worst happens, what practical steps can you take to repair the damage? If you do lose your investment, you might need to pick up more shifts to earn it back. If you have leftover stock, you might decide to sell it at a cost just to recoup some of your investment. At the end of the day, there are always solutions to the worst-case scenarios, and that's what we often forget when we focus on our fears and let them get the better of us. Number 4, list all the ways in which your life will improve once you start working towards this goal. This last question encourages you to reflect on the positive impact that this goal could have on the many areas of your life. Consider the skills you'll learn in the process, consider the benefits, the rewards, how will this improve your family life, your relationships, your social life, and your personal life. For example, starting your own business might grant you the freedom and flexibility to work your own hours, which means you can pick up your kids from school. It might also be an additional source of income that allows you to fund an overseas trip each year. Once you've worked through your worst case scenario, the next step is to break down your goal into actionable steps and create a plan for yourself. What do you need to do to achieve your goal? You can use this space to write broader steps or specific to-dos with realistic target dates so that you can prioritize your time accordingly. Of course, other tasks that you can't think of right now will inevitably pop up along the way, but this initial to-do list is a good starting point as it will give you the confidence to begin, which is often the hardest part. If you're starting a candle business, the first few steps might include the following: decide on a brand name, purchase domain name, design logo, design packaging, source suppliers for packaging, figure out costs and profit margin. This section also links back to your mission in progress section, which you'll find on every pre-week planner. So what you can do is look at your steps and figure out what things you want to tackle each week and schedule them in. The next step is to set some milestones. We've carved out space for you to set 4 milestones because it's not just about crossing the finish line, it's about validating your efforts along the way. Your milestones are like mini goals within your larger goal. They represent significant points of progress and they can help boost your confidence and help you stay committed to your goal, especially if you can't see the finish line in sight. They help bridge the gap between you and your goal. So think about what your milestones might be and write them down. For example, your milestones for launching an online business might be designing your packaging, sourcing your candle supplies, producing your first 50 candles to sell, and uploading all the product SKUs to your website. Just remember that your milestones should follow a linear path, meaning that by completing one milestone, you should be able to complete the next one and so forth. The next section is called Celebrate. We are big believers in celebrating our wins. This is space for you to write down how you want to celebrate accomplishing your mission. Maybe it's going out for dinner at your favorite restaurant. Maybe it's treating yourself to a spa day. You might also choose to include rewards for arriving at each milestone. Lastly, we've included a progress bar at the bottom here because having a visual display of your progress can be highly motivating. Even the act of shading in the progress bar will be so rewarding and satisfying. The mission statement worksheets in Curation A4 have a slightly different design. Your progress bar is located at the top of each worksheet. Since we've had a lot more room to work with, we've also included brainstorming space at the bottom of each spread where you can jot down ideas or do a bit of a brain dump before writing your steps in their logical order.